Let's talk about the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Through the Chronicles. Now, many of you might not know this, but you should smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So fairly recently, Konami released a survey based on the Chronicles of Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically saying, hey, do you guys want to see more of this? And I don't know why anybody would look around and go, why would we not want to see more of this? So, a quick little review here. The Chronicles of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was that very short series of animations that Konami released out here, basically animating, our favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. And I know a lot of people, took a second, looked around, and were like, holy crap, Konami actually, they put some love into these beloved characters that we love. Getting the chance to see Sky Striker come to life, getting the chance to see, the big buff Exodia Incarnate, a little bit of the battle between, the Fire Kings and the Atlanteans, the story of Blue Eyes and Kisara, and just the rest of the pieces that, actually the Albaz was absolutely amazing. That animation was fantastic. But one of the biggest things with this is Konami's been milking this very short animation. Now, as they should be here, I would actually be very disappointed that if Konami went through all of this effort with this animation, creating this thing, and they weren't going to actually use this as marketing. I mean, let's be honest here for a second. If you make a short animation, and I am still very much speculating here in the future that, we're going to see a pretty dramatic shift in the way that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise is approached here in the near future, at least considering, the stories of the cards. You got to remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! Started off with the main characters, Yami Yugi and Kaiba, the whole Egyptian story out here. And then we started to, you have the Battle of the Gods and all that. And that's kind of like your ancient story. And then the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Started to evolve beyond these characters. The story of these characters it's actually kind of interesting. The fact, you always have these heroes that play these cards, but then you start to give the cards lore. And I think that's one of the bigger things that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has definitely had its chance to do is, while you have, this character playing, Light Sworn, for an example, the Light Sworn deck has its own lore about it. And that means, well, the duelist that's playing this has to have a reason to want to play this, because after the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're out of that Egyptian theme out here. You hit GX, you still have the evils of the world doing the thing, but now you have elemental heroes stepping into the light. How are elemental heroes born out here? They're the heroes of the universe. Well, then you bring in Destiny heroes and all this other. You see what I'm saying here? You start, like most storytelling, you start up here at the top with an idea, and then you start trickling outwards to where we are right now with, yes, the original stories had to do with the main characters and all of that. That's really cool that we were able to start systematically out like that. But actually, I am betting as we're hitting that 30th anniversary here, you're going to start to see the game shift away from the original heroes. And this is what we need to actually be happening right now in the course of the game. One of the biggest things Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been suffering from has been no anime. Well, okay, there's Rush Duels. All right, there's still something out here breathing life into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, which is good. All right, you have people that are watching Yu-Gi-Oh! That are, getting involved in this. But there's nothing really too much that the original shows kind of brought to the table. Yet Rush Duels, we don't have a version of Rush Duels in English, and Rush Duels, in comparison to the Japanese side, is like nowhere near as popular as the actual OCG game. So that's where marketing needs to start to shift now. Once again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is marketed as a trading card game for kids. And unfortunately, you're heading from 25 years into 30 here. So the biggest thing that you need to think about here is, your little duelist that you started this off with is no longer a wee little duelist. All right, times have changed. That's why I think they're going to start to take advantage of, the Chronicles. This was a test in the water for them, and they've also been testing other things. Look at, the OCG stories out here. For example, you have 2 mangas running right now. One that basically is written by a duelist or a guy that actually went out and played the game, and you can see the fear of getting max seed, getting hand trapped in these characters' eyes. You get to see the real reflections of the actual game itself. And then on the flip side of that equation, you have the stories, with Sky Striker and Magistus kind of evolving over time and telling these stories, which then we get to the anime series here. With the anime series, not only can you start to animate these stories, you also have, storylines written over here from literal Master Duel that you can animate. So at this point in time, our question comes down to, okay, so we've tested the waters for storytelling, away from the heroes of the game, the original Yu-Gi-Oh, Yugi, Jaden, all of these heroes. Now you start to trickle down even further into the lore of things. And I guarantee you, without any doubt in my mind, 150% out here, that if you make an OCG's Chronicle anime about Fallen of Albaz, about the Orcust lore, depending on how far you go into these stories with animating them, whether or not, some of these stories could be 1 to 2 episode animes. I guess that's my major concern, is how far down the rabbit hole are we going to go here with these? Because if these are going to be 12 episode animes, okay, that's suddenly a new thing. You can run that for a season, and then suddenly things are looking a lot more interesting out here in terms of production. If you make a dedicated Sky Striker series based off of the manga, run it for 12 episodes. I understand it's like $1 million, $2 million an episode to make, so it's a $12 to $24 million investment on Konami's part. I'm sure Shueisha, the parent company, would get involved in some of this as well to print this original story. You're going to get this new involvement of players watching this going, Yu-Gi-Oh! Stories. And you can start printing merch and all these things. This survey and everything that they have opened up here with all this is just the tip of the iceberg to what we're going to call saving the modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise. Because the stories of the heroes are good, and that's why, Rush Duel kind of diverged into. But you've already created the stories for these monsters. You've created all of this lore for all of these things for the last 20 plus years of the game. People want to start to see the stories of these cards. I want to see we already know the Fallen of Albaz lore. We've seen the entire story unfold. But it has been the most probably popular storyline we've ever actually seen in the course of the game, that if that gets animated, people are going to absolutely love it. That and Sky Striker, I think, are on the top of the food chain here for things to be expecting just on the crazy side of things. And like I said, this is where you start getting the next generation of people involved in your game. And this is just how big Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become throughout the years, that this one little idea up here, the world of duel monsters, expanding into all of this vast lore, these stories, the chance to see these monsters come alive. It's crazy just to see how much Yu-Gi-Oh! Has going for it. So please, I'll leave an actual link down below to everything so you guys can kind of check this out. You're going to have to do some translating, but for the sake of the game, I do want to see more of the Chronicles. I want to see actual anime for this, and I don't think anybody out here besides people that are just like, I don't care about anime. Most people want to see the world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated. And I know Konami's not like the greatest company in the world in terms of money to, be dumping loads into anime, but I can get behind this. Really, I could. Dragon Ball could pump out 100 plus quadrillion episodes. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Can too. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace out.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.